Hey guys, it's M4T and I'll be reviewing the Zhiyun Crane Stabilizing Gimbal on this episode of On the Sea. So if you've ever seen Stephen King's The Shining, you might be appreciative of the intensely good steady follow shot used in Danny's big wheel ride. This is really something that's only possible by way of a skilled operator on a Steadicam device, but this can be on the pricey side. Even the most truly flexible Steadicam solutions are a bit expensive. So one of these solutions is the Zhiyun Crane. I purchased one of these for $4.99 as a group buy. In the box you'll get a manual, you'll get the main gimbal frame, a battery compartment pipe, 2 sets of batteries with a charger to go with it, a USB cable for charging and updating, and a lens support joist with the thumb screw. You will also get another thumb screw for mounting your camera and a plastic carrying case. The plastic carrying case is pretty heavy duty. It actually looks like a Pelican case in a way. Charging the device is done through USB via a separate cradle, and it's the first thing you have to do before using your device. Each set of 2 batteries takes a couple of hours to charge and lasts for 5 to 6 hours depending on your usage. I've been pretty conservative when it comes to using the batteries, making sure to turn it off between shots, and so I have yet to see the batteries die on me. So once the batteries are charged, you'll put it into the battery compartment pipe and assemble your crane. While the pipe can be detached from the crane at the midsection, there is also a screw-in mount at the bottom which can be used to change the batteries in case you have to hold your camera while switching the batteries. So using the provided thumb screw, you will then have to pre-balance your camera on the crane so that at rest it can be adjusted to any angle and that it won't fall to gravity and spin. Doing this makes sure that you don't put strain on the motors and eventually ruin your footage and your gimbal. I found the best way to do it is to isolate one motor at a time and to adjust the thumb screws until it can basically rotate freely in every axis without falling to gravity. So Zhiyun also makes a number of other gimbal models, including the Crane M, which is for smaller mirrorless cameras, and then there's like 3 smooth models for our phones. And my intention was to eventually upgrade to a heavier camera, and so I went ahead and got the full-sized Crane. But if you were going to stick to something like the G7, I might go for the Crane M. So it's worth noting that the G7 on its own will not actually properly balance on the crane. And so for this reason, I might recommend something like the Crane M, which is more for smaller mirrorless cameras. But people say that even then, you kind of have to weight the camera in the back on those in order to get it to pre-balance. And pre-balancing is really important. Unfortunately, with having to use an Arca Swiss on my crane in order to get my G7 balanced, what I found is that a lot of the adjustment that you can make on the crane itself were kind of really far out, so that I didn't even have the full motion of the crane, and what happens is the arm of the crane actually starts hitting itself and scratching itself, which can cause cosmetic damage to your crane. So once the crane is properly pre-balanced, you'll turn it on by holding the power button for a few seconds, and then you'll find it'll automatically center itself according to its center of gravity. So on the crane, you basically have a power button, the analog stick, which also clicks in, and a side shifting lever, which has more function when you have a crane connected to a specific control cable and a special camera. So the crane defaults into pan follow mode when you first power it on. This means that the axes are locked except for the left and right, which are smoothly adjusting to the pipe as you turn it. In this mode, you can also tilt the joystick of your camera in order to put the camera up or down. For example, up and down. And this mode is best used in situations where you might be filming a scene with no immediate need to follow things up or down. So if you press the button one time, you end up in locking mode, which actually keeps everything parallel to the field of the camera. And so what happens is if you turn the stick, nothing happens. If you push forward or push back, it actually stays perfectly parallel with the scene in front of you. And this is really good for following shots or just kind of follow a subject. So double pressing puts it into pan and tilt following mode, which actually keeps everything in line with the pipe. And so you can turn it left, you can turn it right, and everything stays perfectly adjusted, but in a smooth motion. So I've mysteriously entered into another mode before where pressing left and right actually causes the crane to tilt left or right in terms of rolling like this. And I don't really know how to get back to that mode, but pressing the button usually brings it back to normal. Triple pressing flips the camera 180 degrees. Unfortunately for the double press and the triple press, it doesn't always work properly, like it doesn't register them. And so sometimes you have to press it multiple times and then it might just give you an unpredictable result. So I can see the benefit of each of these modes, but I think it would be better if Zhiyun Crane offered another way to switch to these modes because the button doesn't always register properly. The joystick is slightly pressure sensitive, so you can actually press slower in order to have less motion, or you can press faster in order to have quicker motion. There's also a shifting lever which can be used to adjust the focus of your camera, but you require a special cable for your camera, and also you need a very specific camera, for example a Sony Alpha. So how does it perform? So the crane performs really well. I truly pressed it to its limits, putting loads on it that could not even be balanced. You can view my use of the crane with 3 different kinds of cameras, and even with this kind of heavy load, I was running. And you can see that even when zoomed in on a telephoto lens, I saw very acceptable quality. So I half expected videos where I was just walking to come out smooth, but if you look at these videos, they're still up and down motion. And so what you have to do is master a kind of thing called the ninja walk, where you kind of just bend your knees. You know, you can't really run that fast in that kind of motion, but you'll notice that even though you're kind of struggling while you're doing it, you can actually see that the video does come out smooth when you're doing it. And so you kind of have to learn to master your up and down stabilization within your own body. So in conclusion, the Zhiyun Crane is not really that affordable. For example, I broke my $200 or less rule for OnTC, and so there's probably going to be a few less reviews this year. But if you're looking to expand your creative freedom with regards to stabilization, and you don't have a stabilized camera, and even with a stabilized camera, it will help to eliminate a lot of the bigger motions. This could really help with your filmmaking. At this price point, it's actually cheaper than a lot of non-gimbal pro gear, like the Steadicam or the Ronin, for example. So thank you for watching my M4T. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you have something to say, leave a comment in the box down below. I love to read comments, and I love subscribers even more. So if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.